everybody, and today's Thursday, December 10th, 2020. We are here for work session, and as always, we will start with the pledge. And Jody, can you please take the lead?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jody. Today we have a few announcements. First, as I have repeatedly urged at all meetings, please remain vigilant and adhere to the three W's concerning COVID, which is wash your hands, wear your mask, and watch your distance. Please follow all social distancing protocols and consider getting tested at one of the 7 locations throughout Riverhead. The details on testing can be found on our website. As we speak, the COVID-19 vaccine is being distributed worldwide. Please do not be complacent. Practice social distancing. In the spring, we should enter the recovery stage of this disaster, according to the disaster management cycle, and herd immunity hopefully will take hold. We will be able to assess the damage that has been caused by this pandemic, especially to small businesses that we know will not recover. Next, the fire department will transform into Santa's helpers for the holiday Santa run. This Saturday, December 12th, beginning at 3 p.m., they will travel throughout each neighborhood within the town to kick off the holiday season. 2020 has been a rough year for all of us, but especially to our children, who have been forced to work virtually from home and are limited in the physical activities that they can do. I am pleased to hear that the Riverhead Fire Department will be continuing this holiday tradition and keep some spirit alive. Lastly, residents are encouraged to go online to the town website and complete the town's law enforcement advisory panel survey. As of this morning, I am pleased to say that 894 individuals have taken the survey, but we are hoping that that number will continue to grow. Moving on to our first discussion item, which it's a matter concerning support oversight over LIPA by the Public Service Commission. And Catherine, I'm going to turn this over to you for this item.
All right, thank you, and thank you for putting this on the agenda. I won't be too long with this. And you may recall that in 2018, Senator Laval and Assemblyman Thiel required that LIPA and PSEG respond to elected officials, local government, and residents regarding a massive project where they were putting aluminum poles along County Road 51. Well, this is similar in that this legislation is where Assemblyman Thiel is calling on the government to have, for the Public Service Commission to have more control and stricter guidelines over LIPA and PSEG. So other towns have joined in, and I have a resolution for us that I put in for the meeting on January 5th, and this is just memorializing that. We'll be joining in with Brookhaven, Southampton, and East Hampton.
Okay, so you brought the topic up before anything goes to resolution, right? It's here for work session. So
Right.
do we have an agreement for this resolution to go forward? Frank?
What?
The resolution that she's,
This is a resolution just joining in with other towns.
Yeah, no, I heard what you said.
Yeah.
Do we need to vote
yeah,
on this?
right. Well, for the resolution to go
Oh,
forward.
yeah, I'm fine with
Yeah,
that.
I just
Yeah.
wanted to,
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that the board knew and that
Yeah,
we were all in
that's good.
agreement.
Absolutely.
I think it's always good to have more oversight over these utilities, and, we'll be joining in with other towns on this.
Most
Okay.
unfortunate how that happened, and the amount of money that was
Mhm.
wasted putting those up, and now possibly they'll be taken down.
Right. Well, we certainly saw all the problems with Isaiah. And if you saw Newsday yesterday, actually there's a lawsuit, I think, LIPA's actually suing PSEG. But this is oversight over LIPA and any other, and other parts of their organization.
Jody, so you agree with the resolution that we can have it drafted and move forward with it?
Well, I won't be here to vote on it on January 5th, so.
And actually, I will say that, Anthony Palumbo has expressed support as well.
Good. Well,
Well, I will
support.
definitely support it on the state level for the Public Service Commission to oversee LIPA and PSE&G. It's one of my wish list items of the committees that I wanna be on.
Well, then I will move forward with the resolution. This is, showing that Riverhead is on board with the other towns.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, moving on, the next item on the agenda surrounds a joint effort for possible preservation of 94-acre site called Broad Hollow in Aquabog. Frank Bayrod, who is our town board liaison to Open Space Committee, will discuss this item. Frank?
Yeah, so this is a very important environmentally sensitive parcel here in the town of Riverhead. And rightly so, the Open Space Committee has made this their foremost priority. And I want to give a shout out to the Open Space Committee. Janice Leonti chairs it, and Nancy Gilbert, and Charles Setta, and Maura Jasvito. They do a great job, and they've been working really diligently on prioritizing parcels within the town. The only problem is that there's no money for preservation on, currently. So this is asking the town board to get on board with the Open Space Committee and write a letter through the town attorney's office. Here comes Anne Marie now, and draft a letter asking several agencies, including the EPA, DEC, Suffolk County Planning and Economic Development, Peconic Land Trust, and Nature Conservancy to get on board with preserving this 94-acre parcel. The significance is that it was a former duck farm, and so there was some contamination years and years ago and sensitivity to this parcel, but there are now native species in the area that are coming back. So we're just, the Open Space Committee is just asking that the town be on board and that we ramp up efforts to preserve this parcel. And as we heard last work session, there is still development interest in this piece, so that makes it even more urgent for our action.
This is and thank you for bringing this forward. This is such a critical, piece for our town.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, and it's on the recent list that we adopted, the properties to preserve that Anne Marie had created. And then I believe that the owner was offered like $11 million, like 5 or 6 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, and he refused the $11 million. So hopefully, I mean, I don't know if the market values have come up where the offer can be made for a greater value that he would accept it, but I think it's definitely a valiant effort to write letters to all the environmental agencies requesting that it be preserved and that everybody puts a piece of their money in so that hopefully we can come up with a number that would satisfy Mr. Weiss, I believe his name is.
Yeah, and so, and I think Anne Marie could probably attest to this, but the zoning there for the possible development is resort zoning, so that would be a fairly intensive usage as opposed to preserving it. So I think this is a noble effort, and the Open Space Committee is hoping that we will take the lead and ask the land trusts and other agencies to get on board.
It's a beautiful piece of property, and I would hate to see it developed. It's really, if you're not familiar with it, you should take a ride down the area. You can see it across if you go into Indian Island Park and go down on the east side of Indian Island Park, and it looks out over that property. It's absolutely beautiful. And one of the problems with development is actually access to the property, because of the railroad tracks go right along the property, and there's not enough room really off of Hubbard Avenue to make it a safe entrance to the property. And the same if you go down on the east end by Overlook Drive. It's very difficult to access that property if it was going to be developed. So hopefully we can save it in open space.
Yes, and Anne Marie has a draft letter already, and she'll refine it to our specific needs, but I think it's a great initiative, and thank you, both of you, for your hard work, Dawn and Anne Marie as well.
Yes.
I think it would make a great extension too to Indian Island Park for hiking and walking and for recreational activities, so I think it's a great piece to preserve.
And Frank, again, thank you for bringing this up to the board and for public discussion. recently we were approached with possible, plans, concerning a resort, a very intricate, vision for this property, and it was not conducive to what your efforts are, and, we actually sent the person packing. So can I ask the board, would you like a resolution for the board to issue the letter, or just a draft letter? I think you could just draft letter. Okay. And the only other thing I'll add is, back in 2015, the owner actually, came before the town board for a 500-unit resort and spa on this site. And at that time, Councilwoman Giglia, the County of Suffolk was attempting to negotiate a deal for the preservation of that parcel. Councilwoman Giglio actually spoke before the county legislature in support of preservation for that parcel. Unfortunately, there wasn't a meeting of the minds. If the town board will also recall, December of 2019, the New York State DEC sent a letter to the town board, and in turn, the town board actually drafted a resolution in support of the New York State DEC's attempt to preserve it in early January of this year. So the ability actually to bring all of the different entities who have expressed keen interest in preserving this parcel really could accomplish the goal of preservation here. So,
And there were many hurdles with Suffolk County Department of Health Services too, where sewers would have had to been extended to the property in order to develop it. So we have all the right reasons to say that this piece should be preserved.
so I simply need direction of the town board. Would you like a resolution with the draft letter, or are you fine with all just signing on to one letter? Yeah, we can
Yes.
all sign on.
I think that, but the next item of discussion is the policies and procedures, so I think that resolutions are important to have majority support of the board in order to send out letters or requests and things of that nature. So it's something that we kind of adopted, I think it was back in 2013, and in getting several questions from the supervisor and from staff through town hall about, being inundated with work by, I know myself, when I have gone into the town attorney's office and requested for letters and things of that nature, it would require a resolution from the town board that the majority of the board supported the idea. And it was a backup, and something even that the county, Legislator Krupski has requested over recent years
So,
to make sure.
Jody, that's the next item. If you don't mind, we'll finish here, and
Yeah,
then
but I
we'll.
think there should be a
Right,
resolution.
yeah, and then once we agree that,
Okay.
then she'll know where we're going, and I
Okay.
agree with you, we're probably going down that road. So can you hold on to resolution, cause we're gonna discuss, policies, and you'll understand if we. Right, well, I think what the councilwoman is actually recommending is, rather than simply sending out the letter, we do a resolution. Okay. Which is not difficult at all, because Councilman Bayrod and I actually have a plethora of information to put into the resolution, so it's not difficult. So we'll go with the resolution, then we'll start from the beginning concerning that, because that is a concern, and we were gonna address it today, so. Okay, and I'll put it on for the January town board meeting, right? Or do you want this in late, cause technically.
I would say you could put it in late, I think that
Okay.
it's, right?
Yeah,
Time
it's
is of the
fine.
essence to
Yeah.
get on for
Okay,
Tuesday.
yeah, especially when there's been interest in this property. Okay.
And, just along the line, just about this property, this is an important piece to our entire region. This isn't just, for the town of Riverhead, this is an important piece for everyone, so we certainly hope we're able to get it preserved.
Sure. Good.
Great.
Perfect. Thank you, Frank. Okay, moving forward to our last discussion item, which is, matters surrounding amendment to the rules and procedures for the town board. Jody, I think, I want you to take the lead on this to address some recent issues concerning, resolutions, how things come on work session, so we can have a clear understanding, moving
Yep,
forward for today.
Does everybody have a copy of the rules and procedures that were adopted in 2013? Where it calls out for 5
They
members
do?
of the board in order to
I know, I do.
take a resolution off the floor. Maybe we can.
Well, you can get it.
would you mind making copies for everyone so that everybody has it, so we could go over it, so that if anybody has anything else that they think should be changed? I'm just saying, in fielding calls as I'm on my way out the door as to
Mhm.
how things are done, and, you know, I said, well, it's in the rules and procedures, and then
Mhm.
when I got a call from, the deputy supervisor yesterday after she tried to find the resolution, which is why resolutions are so important, even with that draft letter, because it memorializes it and you're able to find it, years down the road, rather than looking for a letter that was sent out regarding a piece of property, but, and I believe the clerk probably agrees with me too, that resolutions are easier to track when it comes to writing out recommendations to other agencies, so that you can search it and find it. But, years ago, we had, and we still have the problem in the town attorney's office, where the town attorney's
Mhm.
office is inundated with work and projects that they're working on, and it was always a requirement from as late back as 2013, including through a Republican supervisor and a Democratic supervisor, and now a Republican supervisor, that if you wanted a resolution drafted from the town attorney's office, you had to have 3 board members that went into the town attorney's office to ask them to do the research and draft the legislation, because it does involve a lot of time. And if the resolution doesn't have support from the majority of the board, it's a wasted exercise,
Absolutely.
and it's wasted time. So that was always a policy, and I know that when we had the Democratic supervisor, if there was a resolution that I would like drafted, I would go into the town attorney's office, ask them to draft it, and they would tell me to have 2 other board members contact the town attorney, Bob Kozakevich, to tell him that they wanted the resolution. Otherwise, he wouldn't delegate it to anybody because the office is busy. So I just think that 3 members of the board should be telling the town attorney, we want this resolution to go forward. And just as it was done today with the Open Space Committee and the LIPA Public Service Commission, the board should give consensus of 3
Mhm.
members of the board that they wanna see a resolution drafted and to go forward in order, prior to the resolution actually being drafted. Otherwise, it's just a waste of time.
So for example, recently, someone wanted to put an item up for discussion and attach, follow the resolution. So here we are, let's say for today, you guys don't know what this is about. So we need to be open, and you need to also help and assist each other and do research, and so we can independently make a decision. So it can't be just guided by one board member contacts the attorney's office, it's put up for work session, and the resolution is attached. It doesn't make sense. So I'm glad that you brought it up. We definitely gonna, through resolution, make sure that that policy is in place.
So, let me address this, and let's cut to the chase on this, okay? What this is about is that I put forward this resolution on the Public Service Commission, but I followed the proper steps. First, I did some research, then I contacted the supervisor's office and asked if I could have it on the agenda, and it was requested of me, which I agree with completely. Please send us some more information so we're familiar with this topic. So I forwarded some more information, and then I have a resolution ready, but I wanted to speak with the board so that you didn't just suddenly see a resolution, so that you knew what it was about. So I feel that I completely followed all the proper steps. I always have respect for my board members, my council mates. I don't surprise you with things. I bring stuff to a work session, so this is in a response to that I brought forward a resolution, and I'm not going to agree with this because this is somehow some way to block me from putting resolutions forward.
No, it's not.
This is strictly political.
No,
This
it's
is
not.
absolutely
Is Bob here, Emery?
political.
Bob, can you attest to the fact that over the last 5 years, you will not have your office prepare a resolution unless 3 members of the board call you or email you and request that the resolution be drafted? Because if you have a Democratic supervisor, you have a Republican supervisor, you have a Democratic-run town board or a Republican town board, it's a waste of the town attorney's time to draft resolutions if it's not going forward. Catherine, nobody has a problem with your resolution, and
Nobody
after
did,
the
right.
discussion
Well-
today, we would have said, as we are, yes, Bob, draft the resolution and take the time to do it, because it has board support.
By the way,
It
there
has
wasn't a
nothing to do
time,
with political.
let me just say, yes it is. There wasn't a lot of time to do the resolution, because this was a resolution that we all signed on to, so the other towns had all done a very similar resolution, so it was a small amount of time, and I, of course, want to inform everybody. I try to keep everybody up on anything that I'm working on. I'm not a
Well,
sneaky
let me-
person.
That's great.
So, I think that as an elected official, I
Mhm.
should be able to, usually I check with everyone, I should be able to move forward resolutions or ask resolutions to be drawn up.
Not independently, we are a board, it's
I'll
council,
defer to
there's
Bob.
5 of us, excuse me, Catherine, you
Well,
spoke?
the timing's a little odd on this.
Okay, we didn't mention you particularly, but obviously,
But
since you
I'm
brought it
very
up.
open and honest, I don't have any problem bringing it
Make
up.
sure that at least 2 other board members moving forward, that they are aware of this and they can also add to it. They might have independent knowledge. It's good that other towns have resolutions in this regard, but we're Riverhead, we have to be focused on Riverhead, and then we look outside of Riverhead. Bob, can you answer the question that,
Well, I'm gonna try and be as
Council-
precise as I can be, because the answer is not a simple yes or no. Because, yes, I've asked council people, do you have support? It's never been embodied in a policy or a memo that I could find that came from my office to anyone in particular. I did initially, very, very early on in 2011, having taken office as town attorney at that time and seeing things that were happening, did address a memorandum and then thought better of it, so I didn't send it to the town board. I figured it wasn't probably a good thing to pick a fight with my client. So I didn't send it. I represent the town board. That means I represent all 5 members. As far as collective work that you guys do, you need an affirmative vote of 3 people in order to move forward. In anticipating this, I called around to some of my colleagues, and unfortunately it was not much of assistance because they have not experienced this issue. It would be, I would say that yes, it would be more efficient if I know that there's support when a resolution is being asked of my office. Conversely, we are very, very overwhelmed, so when we do have a council member come in to see us, we try to assist as much as possible right off the bat so that we can move the ball down the field, because we know that if we just kick it over and kick it down the road, it's just going to pile up, and as that stuff starts to pile up against the wall, it just gets really, really hard to move. So I can't say that it has been universal, because I don't think it has been universal. I think in speaking with some of the deputies, we have had instances where resolutions have been requested of us and have advanced where there was a single town board member who's come into the office. It has happened. So I can't say 100% of the time it's never occurred. I do have a couple other suggestions, and I know this may not be something that's agreeable to you, but I know that, and I don't want to slough off work, but one idea that came to my mind yesterday is like a lot of the state offices, they have their own staff, and a lot of times they start preparing their own bills. You have a town board coordinator, so maybe, and the format's there, so I mean, we can certainly review it from the standpoint of its legality to make sure it meets all the state laws, but I guess if there's a concern about being denied an opportunity to advance something, that maybe that's a solution, that the town board coordinator is asked to do it, get it to us at some point once there's 3 members who are supporting it. So I don't have an easy answer, yes or no. I'm trying to be precise, I'm trying to be exact, and not say anything that's not what the case is. We did ask from time to
Okay,
time
well-
that there was support, but it was never embodied in policy.
And thank you, Bob. And I'm gonna say that Bob and Anne Marie, and the town attorney and the deputy town attorney worked tremendously hard on things.
Well, I would say it's not only the town board members, but I would have to say, and I don't want to pat my office on the back, but I'm going to. I think that in addition to being very responsive to this board, we're responsive to department heads, we're responsive to employees, and even to constituents who call in constantly asking us questions. And that was one of the reasons, if you look at my web page, the page that's for the town attorney's office, there's a little blurb in there that says, I don't represent you folks, I represent the town agencies. And I know that's hard to understand because they pay for my salary. They are the reason I'm in office. But I'm gonna try and just say it very simple because I think this will make more sense to the person who's out there. You hire an attorney to sue another person, you're not gonna call the other person's attorney to get advice. That's basically what's happening here. They're calling us to get advice that they may utilize against the town of Riverhead. It's just not logical, and it's inconsistent. You are my client, and I want to take this opportunity to maybe say that so that people who are listening to this know that they shouldn't be calling us to get advice. They should either do the research themselves or hire a private attorney to help them understand the issue, whether it's a zoning issue or any other issue. And it's not to be impolite. I'm just trying to, tell that, because this is an opportunity to get up and maybe make a little bit of a stance on that, because we try to take all the calls, and I get a lot of calls, highway calls, flooding calls, calls about trees, everything, but again, I'm not their client.
Bob, okay, so hold on a second, Catherine. We're getting off the topic. Do you wanna put that up for discussion, and so you can have a tightened policy on what to call it?
I work for you, and I'm gonna kick this back to you. This is a town
Because
board policy. This is town board policy. I work for you guys, so whatever you want me to do. I'm gonna make my office available for any individual town board member. I'm gonna make my office available to everybody as we have. We try to work together. We try to be cooperative. We try to make sure that what you want done gets done.
Okay, so in all townships, it's the legal, department, in Suffolk that drafts the resolutions, cause you are, when you create legislation.
I'm not sure that's true.
Okay, I know that.
I'm not sure that's true because, again, I spoke to some of my colleagues in other
Okay.
townships.
Right.
I'm not dealing with Suffolk County. I'm dealing with
Okay,
townships that all resolutions are drafted by the town attorney's office.
right,
I don't believe that's the case.
But
okay.
if they're not, they're reviewed by the town attorney's office
It-
prior
it-
to being put up for a law.
Absolutely, we wanna make sure that they're all, legal and that you're not doing something that's gonna get yourself into trouble with the state controller's office or otherwise.
So
Okay.
Bob, thank you for that, for enlightening us on that. And let me go back and let me just, openly go through the steps of what went on here. First, I did my research, then I contacted the town attorney's office, and somebody helped me put something together, and we looked at it, and then from there, I took it to the town board coordinator, who worked on it. I also reached out to the supervisor's office and asked to put it on the agenda. Then I forwarded information to the supervisor's office so they would be familiar with the topic, and then I'm discussing it today. So I don't believe I've ever even I don't put forward resolutions. I thought this was one that it was pretty likely everyone was going to agree to. I still think it is. I, am very comfortable with the way things went, and it's unfortunate that, sometimes in our work, people are penalized for working hard.
No, but I think the resolution should be put on Tuesday night, or Tuesday the 15th, because I would like to vote on it. And seeing as we're discussing it today, I don't see why it can't be put on.
Well, I'd have to bring it off the floor, which would be great, but,
No,
bring it off the floor, we do need the 5 votes.
It has to be in Minitrack by 4 p.m. on Friday in order to make the town board meeting on Tuesday.
Right.
That's the rules and procedures.
I'm
right here.
aware of the rules and procedures, I know
So
that.
why are you
That's why it's
saying,
on for January 5th.
but it could go on for this Tuesday?
No, I think it had to be in the other day, there was a time limit
No.
as to when it had to be in.
No.
Well,
right here.
on that issue, I know that,
And
again,
Minitrack didn't even accept it.
going to the past practice we've had, we've allowed resolutions to go in for the same meeting that you guys talk about them, provided they're in by, I think it's close of business on Friday, I think
Yeah.
is what we've always said.
That's correct.
Yes,
So we've kind of done that, so, with all due respect, Councilperson Kent, this could be on the meeting for
and
the 15th.
I'm directing
It
for
it could be,
to
it could be on.
That would be great.
I
But
think-
again,
do we
it's
agree?
been all 5 of it's coming off the floor the day of the meeting, is
Right.
kind of what
Okay.
what our
Bob,
rules say.
one more question, and
Sure.
then, I've made all my points, so I'm not gonna belabor them. But have other council people, in your experience, put forward resolutions, or had you draw up a resolution in the past? Have you ever had other council?
I've had other council people ask me, and from time to time, as Councilperson Giglio pointed out, I did say, do you have support for this? Do you have two others? But that said, we've also had individuals come in and ask us to assist them in getting resolutions drafted where it was just a solitary town board member.
So this has
And I'm not gonna point to anybody in particular, but it has happened in the past. Again,
Okay, that's
the
why
reason,
we're here.
the reason we do it is because we are very overwhelmed, and we figure it's
Mm-hmm.
easier to bang it out, get it done, and then not have to worry about it later. So we've done that from time to
And
time. So
I will
it's not been a
continue-
universal 100% across the board rule.
And I will continue to work on projects, I will continue to work very hard at my job, and continue to move things forward, and I'm not gonna pay attention to silly stuff like this.
As I said, I'm deferring to you guys here with
Thank you,
all
Bob.
due respect, and saying however you want this to be done, my office is ready and willing and able to stand by and do whatever it takes to get the town going forward.
But I think that the procedure on resolutions, and Bob, I'm gonna go back through all my emails where I've asked you to draft a
Oh,
resolution where I've been a
I didn't
single
wanna go
person.
to a particular
Hold on.
person, but I know you did
Hold
ask me,
on.
and I said no.
Hold
Yep,
on.
you're right.
Several times.
Yep.
Whereas a single person, I have said, Bob, will you draft this resolution for me? And you
Mhm.
said, no, I will not, unless you have two other town board members that agree.
Yep.
Cause it's a waste of our time to draft these resolutions, and that has been on at least a dozen occasions.
I'm not sure a dozen, but I
I'm
know
gonna
there's
find
been,
it.
I know it's been a couple, because, I was pretty certain there wasn't support for it, but I don't wanna go there and continue.
And
That's
certainly-
why,
and
that's why,
certainly-
hold on, Catherine, that is why we're here. You might not have the support, and you put all the work into it. Whether you had doubts on hers, this is why we're here, we're getting off the point.
Well, we're not,
Somebody
because
wants to put-
I think my office is being asked to get into the middle of what's going on with you
No.
five
No,
guys.
it's not,
And, well,
okay.
with all due
We
respect,
wanna adopt a
I think,
policy.
Yeah, you
again, I'm fine with that. Again, I'm saying whatever policy you wanna adopt. My office, again, I have a five-headed client. Let's face it.
Yeah.
And
And you've said
my
that
five-headed,
before,
my
too.
five-headed client sometimes has five different views. Sometimes they have one view, and that's just my problem that my office has to deal with. Whatever you guys decide, I don't wanna continue the debate.
Well,
Bob,
and
can
I-
I put the final
Yes.
shovel of dirt on this dead horse, please?
I appreciate that.
Town board coordinator is more than capable of doing resolutions up for us. She's done them for me in the past, she does an excellent job. They get reviewed by your office, that's
Correct.
number one. And that
Correct.
will help, that certainly can help take care of some of the workload that you guys see.
Takes care of the workload and also takes us from being in the middle of you guys.
Secondly, Catherine, I just want to say, you mentioned that this is strictly political. This is the first I've heard about this situation at all today. So I'm going to say, for me, it's definitely not political. I have gone numerous times to the town attorney's office for resolutions, and every time I've been asked if I have three people. So I don't even go now unless I know I have three people. That's just the way it's been since I've been here. I was told that's what policy was, so that's how I've always done it. Am I aware that maybe somebody in the past has gone and had it done? Yes, I am aware of that. But I don't think that's fair to throw work onto somebody on an entire office to do the prep of a resolution if it doesn't have support to be passed. It's just a waste of everybody's time. So for me, it's not political. For me, it's just the way we've done business, and I think it works well that way. And I think it's a great point that you made to have the town board coordinator assist us with resolutions. Sometimes she's not going to be able to. Sometimes it might involve something that you or your paralegal or somebody's going to have to do.
Sure.
But I think if we approach it that way, I think that's the smoothest sense of business for us to move forward with.
And the town board coordinator did do this resolution. I just wanna say that if it's a controversial topic, obviously, you need to make sure you have support, and I have done that on many occasions. I have gone in with each board member, or I've called you and said, this is what's coming forward, I wanna check with you, haven't I? I always check. I mean, I didn't think this was a controversial topic. This is a resolution that all these other towns have done. We were just moving forward the same resolution, and I didn't feel it was controversial.
It
And
was
I don't know
really
why, I mean,
So
I don't know
anyway,
why it has
back-
to be such a
So
big
anyway,
deal.
back to the policies and procedures.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there were 3 people that wanted to pull resolutions off the floor in the past because the supervisor, whether it be a Republican or a Democrat, didn't like the resolution, and we were unable to get the resolution off the floor unless we had 5. I think that should be changed. I think that if you have 3 people that are majority of the board that want to take a resolution off the floor, as long as that resolution has been given to the supervisor's office within 24 or 48 hours, whichever you guys decide on the policy and procedures, because if a supervisor doesn't wanna see a resolution go forward, but the majority of the board does, it should be able to come off the floor or get into minute track. So I think that that should be changed too, where you don't need 5. Because like I said, I've tried to have resolutions taken off the floor with a Democratic supervisor that didn't want it, and we had 3 people that wanted to take it off the floor, and it couldn't come off the floor. And I don't think
Agreed.
that's right.
I understand, so.
And
but-
I'm gonna disagree with both of these. I'm going to disagree. When something comes in at the last minute, it should really have 5 people that are approving it. And I also think that one person ought to be able to move forward a resolution. You guys can, people can always vote no on it. And honestly, do you think it's right for you to be making these policy decisions and bringing up these things?
I'm not making policy
when it's
decisions,
your
we're
last work
discussing it.
session?
We're having a discussion.
I mean, it's, all right.
The supervisor and I had a discussion yesterday. I've had discussions with the town attorney in the past. I had a discussion with Frank Bayrod about it yesterday. And it's just up for discussion. If you guys don't wanna change it, you don't have to change it. But, when I'm asked what has been the policy or what has been the practice for the last 10 years that I've been here, and I explain that to somebody, they say, do we have a rules and a policy procedure resolution that was adopted? And I said, yes, we do, and I think that there are some things in here that are problematic, such as 5 people being able to take a resolution off the floor when 3 people agree to it, and you can't get it on the agenda because the supervisor disagrees with it, that's not a democratic way to do business.
Yeah, but Jody, if you have 3 people in support, you're gonna have the resolution.
Well,
It's just a matter of, you're talking about maybe something that's time sensitive, where you would need to take it off the floor. I agree with Catherine, I think we need 5 people to agree to take something off
I
the
agree
floor,
with
because you haven't even had time to expose this to the public, and it's just coming, it's almost like you're trying to sneak something by.
Okay.
And I'm not suggesting you're doing that,
Right.
but that's how I feel about it, so I like the 5 to take off the floor. I think that's only fair to the constituents, because, otherwise, nobody's had time to voice an opinion on it.
Right, it's just, like I said, I've been getting a lot of phone calls lately about policies of things that we do, whether it's even in the town attorney's office, and going directly to the town attorney so that he can delegate responsibilities to his staff, so he knows who's working on what, and what else he can load on top of them to handle if they're inundated with another project. So I think that, the department heads, I think that we all agree, and Tim, you've been here, that if you want something done, you don't go to a member of the department, you go to the department head and you ask them.
Correct. Absolutely correct.
So, it's gotta go to the town attorney first, it can't just go to members of staff asking them to do things without the town attorney knowing. And that's been policy as long as I've been here.
And once again, this resolution, 1, was not controversial.
It's not about that
2,
particular resolution,
Yes, it is.
Catherine, no, it's
Was not a lot of work, and
You
I
take
am-
everything so personal, it's not
and
personal.
I am I can figure out what's happening, it's the timing, and I am a team player, and that's it.
Anyway, I think that the policy should be written that if you need something from a department, you go to the department head and the department head delegates it to. But these are things that I had discussed with the supervisor that have been practice and policy, and Tim concurs that you go to the department head if you need something.
Absolutely.
And they assign it to a town attorney, and then you follow up with that town attorney. So at least the town attorneys, the deputies know that their department head has said, yes, I want you to work on this. So that when he comes into your office and asks you what you're working on, and you're working on something that he knew nothing about, can be taken back.
So the policy is that we still need 3 people majority to draft a resolution.
That's
Okay.
correct.
Just, I
Very
wanna make it
simple.
clear, okay?
This is
Yeah.
belated.
I completely disagree, and I will talk to you, there are other things that happened, this was a political move, and it's unfortunate because I'm working hard and trying to bring things forward.
You know, every time that maybe one of us or the board, the two members of the board disagrees with you, Catherine, you call out the political card. Stop it. We're here to represent our constituents and the taxpayers. If you disagree, then vote no. Simple. Stop calling this political card. I came to office to represent all of Riverhead, and my fellow colleagues here are here for the same reason. I don't wanna hear this again in the town board meeting, that it's a political.
No.
If you can go outside of this town board, you're wasting the taxpayers' money and our time. I don't wanna hear this political thing again in town hall meetings.
I'm sorry, but you can't control what I say, and I do speak the truth.
Okay, we buried this horse halfway to China now, can we move
Yeah,
on
can
to
we
the
move
next
on?
item, please?
And I agree
Okay.
with that, Tim.
Thank you.
Okay, so, Bob, you know, before a resolution is adopted, 3 individuals, and you need, and they have to disclose to you who they are, and Bob, we're moving forward, okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, everyone. This concludes our discussion items for the day. Devin, can you please read the resolutions before us?
Okay. Everybody ready? Resolution number 1, refund request of special event application fee for Long Island Moose Classic Car Club. Number 2, forgives repayment of the outstanding balance of a Town of Riverhead Community Development Department home improvement loan conveyed to the recipient assigned to CDA AHC loan number 9F26 in 2006. Number 3, promotion of police officers to the position of Detective Grade 3.
Yahoo.
Number 4, appoints a water treatment plant operator 2B. Number 5, appoints a water treatment plant operator 2B. Number 6, authorizes the town supervisor to execute a professional service agreement with Larry Levi, DBA Onsite Productions. Number
Devin,
yes,
you're just re-upping the contract from the previous year,
correct,
okay?
correct. Number 7, authorizes the supervisor to execute aircraft loan agreement with the Department of the Navy, F-14, a Tomcat, and A-6 Intruder. Number 8, authorization for the supervisor to execute an agreement, nunc-pro-tunc, with the National Fire and Safety Solutions, Inc. Number 9, ratifies acceptance of donation of disinfectant from Home Depot. Number 10, ratifies the appointment of a part-time office assistant to the town supervisor's office. Number 11, agreement for transcription services with Arlene Bobal. Number 12, appoints marriage officer Diane Wilhelm.
Oh, can I just go back to that last resolution a minute, Devin?
Sure.
This person wasn't there a local person that we could use for this?
You're referring to the transcription service?
Yes. This
I'll
was,
defer to Diane, but I'm told that this is just a continuation of the same folks that we've been previously doing business with.
okay.
Yes,
And she's comfortable with that arrangement, and I understand the terms are the same, so.
And we did have somebody local, we had Flynn, right?
yeah, she's the backup.
Flynn is
Okay,
now, he was
okay.
now a backup, but
Alright.
it was difficult to get the minutes sometimes because she is so busy in the courts and everywhere else, so.
Okay,
Okay, so 12 was to appoint Diane Wilhelm as a marriage officer, and 13 is to appoint James Wooten as a marriage officer. Number 14, extends bid for water meters and accessory equipment or reasonable equivalent and repair to meter reading equipment for the Riverhead Water District.
so it's the same bid amount, right, through
Yes.
2020?
Yes,
And there was extensions on that, I understand. This is the final extension?
that's my understanding, yes.
Okay, great. It's for the water equipment?
Yeah, water meters and things like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Number 13, Sebastian Drive Capital Water Project number 82056.
Why do they need a 2-inch? Just I would be curious, I guess I'll ask, cause normally domestic service requires a 1-inch. And
I
seeing,
think this is the disabled home. Is this the same?
I think you're right,
I
I think
think
it's
this
one
is
of the,
a facility for disabled
yes.
people.
that's
I-
one of the other things that I'm working
I
on
think-
up in Albany
I think we
is,
I
checked.
think that address is,
Yeah.
yes.
that's another thing that I'm working on in Albany is saturation of, group homes and these types of facilities in one particular area, especially when we're struggling with water issues. And a 2-inch main and a medical facility in a residential neighborhood that is you know, under the Padovan law, can go anywhere, you can have 10 of them on a block, it really does use a lot of water consumption, and with the hurdles that our water district is facing, that we have to start looking at saturation rates.
Okay, number 16, approves execution and submission of grant application to Suffolk County for fiscal year 2021 Community Development Block Grant Funds. Number 17, extends contract for information technology with Total Technology Solutions. Number 18, authorizes execution of water service agreement with Jeffrey and Judith Rothkamp, Calverton, New York.
And I believe the owner is absorbing the cost,
Right,
correct?
correct.
Okay, perfect,
No cost to the town on that.
thank you.
Number 19, reappoints Oric, Harrington, and Sutcliffe LLP as bond counsel for 2021. Number 20, authorizes the supervisor to execute community benefits agreement.
And I just wanted to say on both of these, we got these, we didn't get this till last night around close to 5. This is 35 pages. Between this and the other one, this is a lot too. And I am going to have questions with this, I just needed time to be able to look it all over.
Okay, and 21, authorize the supervisor to execute memorandum of understanding and utility easement between Long Island Solar Generation NextEra and the town of Riverhead. Number 22, ambulance budget, ambulance district budget adjustment.
Okay, so this adjustment, is this moving, from one line to another?
Yeah,
A
so
simple-
Bill can explain it further. Obviously, my understanding is we're basically just moving money from one column in the
Perfect.
ambulance line
Okay.
to
Yeah,
another
I-
column
right.
within the ambulance
Mhm.
line.
Okay,
Right.
makes sense.
Number 23, accepts the resignation of a public safety dispatcher 1. Number 24, police department budget adjustment. Number 25,
Hold on,
yes.
budget adjustment, that's just moving money or equipment?
same thing, again, Bill can clarify further, but my understanding is just all within the police line from one line to
Oh,
another
okay.
within police.
Okay, I was aware of that, I remember, Bill, thank you.
Right, because the chief said he wanted, new vehicles this year, and he had
Mhm.
money left over in his budget in other lines that he wanted to move over to buy another vehicle.
Right, and just when I hear budget adjustment, I'm thinking it's going up. We're watching our money here, unfortunately.
Okay, number 25, affirms recommendation of the Conservation Advisory Committee and denies appeal of Phoenix Home Buyers LLC for a wetland permit regarding 48 Willow Street, Aquabog, Suffolk County Tax Map number 600-87-1-14. Number 26, authorizes agreement with CSC Holdings LLC.
What is
Dan,
that?
can you just go over what this is, 'cause you handle all the Cape Vision?
Good morning all, council members, and obviously happy Hanukkah to our Jewish brethren as well. CSC Holdings and the proposed contract was crafted at the behest of our IT department. Terry and myself have been working in negotiations with the Optimum rep to consolidate the approximate 30 separate data service accounts the town of Riverhead currently has regarding multi-locations in the town into basically one consolidated agreement for the purpose of achieving operational efficiency and cost savings. Optimum has represented to the town that during the 3-year proposed contract period, the town will realize a minimum of $16,000 in savings as a multi-location customer, similar to what other towns have achieved, such as the town of Brookhaven, for example. So that's the basis of the contract. It is an internal contract for the town of Riverhead's accounts only. For clarification, it is not related to, in any way, shape, or form, any residential services that individuals may have with Optimum and those services. It's for the town's benefit alone regarding our own internal accounts, which, as you know, is growing. For example, we are adding security camera surveillance in both the railroad station area and at some point in the near future, the Grandview Bell Park area as well. Well, those camera operations will require data service accounts because we will be transmitting both video and other data via internet line. And so those accounts will be added as well, including the concomitant cost savings.
Thank you, Dan.
You're very welcome.
Yes, so it's saving $16,000 over the course of 3 years, and now you're consolidated, so it would be more efficient.
That's
Because
correct.
you have to send data, you have to send voice, photos, so, good job there, thank you.
Thank you, and just as a further clarification, as you know, we deal with this on our individual Optimum accounts, right? There's generally a teaser rate at a lower amount, and when that expires, of course, the rate goes up on a monthly basis. Well, it's no different than our town accounts. So the desire was to achieve both cost certainty regarding our fiscally challenging time period, as well as a consolidation in terms of operational efficiency.
Right.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Dan.
good work, Dan, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Dan.
Okay, number 27, authorize purchase of two 2021 Kenworth Model T370 dump trucks with central hydraulics, reversible plow, and stainless steel spreader.
I'm very happy to see this. Hope Geo can get these on the road and working before the snow hits the ground. But I'm very happy we got this on the agenda, and I know he will be too.
And that's the goal, and he also has, interviewed recently again
Good.
for
good.
more employees, and that's in the work.
And I understand, Bill, that they're using fund balance proceeds to pay for said
Right.
trucks.
That's
Okay.
perfect, thank
And
you.
All
I'm
right.
sure Gio doesn't want snow, but I do.
Number 28, rejects bid and authorizes publish and post new bid for food and meat. And number 29, authorizes the supervisor to sign an agreement with Capital Markets Advisors LLC, CMA. And that's it. Supervisor, before you move on to close the meeting and enter into exec, I just want to let the board know, we were just advised that Kelly Touchy has requested that her item for exec be removed from the agenda. So we're going to make the amendment and repost the new agenda, but just so you're aware, all right?
Okay, thank you for,
And the resolution that Catherine wanted will be added to the meeting for Tuesday, correct?
Yeah, just so I'm clear on that, are we putting it in for Tuesday, or are we doing it for January, Supervisor?
we're putting it for Tuesday,
Understood.
right? You all agree?
If Catherine agrees with it, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
You okay?
Okay, thank you, everyone. This concludes our discussion items, our resolutions, and thank you, Devin. In a moment, I'm gonna ask to go into executive sessions on matters, concerning change of status of an employee. The second listed, personnel matter has been scratched, as we see. We heard a moment again. Then we move on to contractual matters leading to, renegotiation of an agreement. Then we move on to legal matters and matters surrounding litigation regarding 901 Scott Avenue in Calverton. Can I please have a first and a second to enter into executive session?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So moved. Everyone be safe.